Welcome back. You're watching the Self-Love series with Dr. Jennifer Hawks. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the relationships that we build and the lessons that we can learn from those. So, what can become incredibly hard for a lot of people is when societal norms tell us that our family should love us, right? Our family should be supportive of us. Our close friends should always be there for us. And the what we get out of our family relationships is forever, right? Family is forever. And while I agree with that, there are certain people that are put into our lives to teach us lessons. And just about every single relationship you will ever have should teach you a lesson. So let's talk about that. If we if we think that we deserve love from somebody, but it's been a tumultuous relationship with that person, and we keep fighting it, thinking that that person should love me. And then we start to develop this sense of entitlement, right? And that can be incredibly damaging for you. So, for example, when people feel like they're the black sheep in the family, or that they can't trust their family, or if they have been done wrong by close family members and friends, that is damaging for one, but it can change the way that you think about yourself and the way that you think about relationships if you allow it to teach you a lesson. So basically, these people are put into our lives for a reason. And we can learn what not to do, we can learn what to do, or we can just actually learn how to heal ourselves and be our best self regardless of how somebody else chooses to be. I see this a lot with siblings, with my patients, where they'll have, one sibling that they really get along with. They'll have another one that they don't get along with very well, or they'll say, or aunts and uncles too. I have a lot of patients that'll be like, my aunt screwed me over on this, or I had a negative situation with an uncle, not going down that path, but um, that happens a lot where we're damaged by people that are closest to us. And I want you to think about that. Of course, it's going to be someone close to you to really teach you a lesson. If it was a random person on the street, then you'd write that person off in a heartbeat and you wouldn't be able to actually learn a lesson from it. So, especially some of the big lessons that we learn in our youth as well as our young adulthood are taught to us by close people, close family members, and close friends. And while a lot of that can be tragic and horrifying, even with some of the stories that I hear, it is an opportunity to heal. It is an opportunity to learn your worth, to know who you want to be in this world and what you want to present to others. If it was, a family member like a parent, that happens a lot too. But on this level of things, I see a lot of this with, siblings and extended family, cousins, aunts and uncles, where people will be like, well, you're supposed to be able to trust your family. And I'm not talking about myself here. I actually love all of my siblings. I'm one of five. Um, I love every single one of my siblings. I'm not talking about myself here. But yes, my siblings do teach me lessons, and I'm still learning my lessons to this day with the relationships that I've developed with my siblings. So even if you don't have a bad relationship with your family members, they're still there to teach you a lesson. You're still learning something from that family member and from the dynamic of relationship that you have with them. So it goes back to that conditioning, right? So if we're conditioned at a young age to feel like we're less than, well, you internalize that and then you tend to be someone that overgives. Or maybe you never felt like you got the love that you deserved and it turned into an entitlement. And then all of a sudden you start expecting things from other people because that's what you deserve. This is what I deserve. That's not true. Um, you deserve to be good to yourself. And yes, we deserve love and kindness and compassion, but not every single person that's brought into our life is brought into our life to give us love, to give us compassion. Some of them are brought into our lives to teach us a groundbreaking lesson about who we are and what we're going to choose moving forward. So let's say, for example, someone that never felt like they were good enough and they felt like they were entitled to, the societal norms of relationships with their family. And they were like, why doesn't my aunt treat me better? Why doesn't my grandma call me? Why does my brother get along better with this sibling than they do me? That's a red flag for you if you start thinking those things, because your relationships depend on what you put out and what you're willing to receive. So if it becomes a little bit like a guilt trip where some people, when they feel like they deserve a certain type of relationship with a family member, they can often start to try to guilt trip that family member over what they feel like they deserve. Well, that's just blame game nonsense, right? Take responsibility for who you are and what you've chosen to do in your life. And everyone makes mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes. Learn from that mistake and do better next time. Instead of lowering your vibration and allowing negative things in your life to affect who you are. Yes, they change us. Everything that happens in our life will change us if we let it. But it's a matter of, are we changing for the better? Are we learning our lessons? Or are we now developing blame game and guilt trip and things like that? So it's really about developing boundaries and self-worth. When you develop independence emotionally and financially, that's a great place to be. But oftentimes, we'll develop that first sense of independence, right? We're on our own, we can do what we want. And then later, a little bit later, we start to develop that financial independence. But oftentimes, even at this point, we still haven't developed emotional independence. We may still rely on other people to provide a feeling of fulfillment. Oh, I made that person happy. That makes me happy. Okay, did you do anything to make yourself happy today? Because it kind of looks like you're doing a million things for everyone else. You're being guilt tripped by other people in your family or your close friends to do things for them. And while that's not okay for them to do either, that's something they have to learn. You also can't allow yourself to be taken advantage of like that, because that's not you setting proper boundaries and knowing your own worth. You can choose to understand the behavior that others exhibit without holding it against them. If you know your worth and you hold your boundaries, and that's all part of that vibing high. And it really goes back to that aspect of responding with kindness and compassion instead of reacting emotionally. And even if I don't get angry, it doesn't mean I didn't react emotionally. So if someone is telling you their sob story, and I'm just saying that in general as the language being used, I really am here for people if they want to talk. I love to listen and I love to try to help people through that. But it's an aspect of helping someone help themselves, right? Not just helping someone who refuses to help themselves. And that's a pattern we get caught into, right? And we don't see it as enabling. Most people don't see their behaviors as enabling. But when you actually take a look at allowing someone to emotionally manipulate you allowing someone to guilt trip you, allowing someone else to run you ragged, allowing yourself to take on other people's burdens. And as an energy worker, I have to actually do a lot to protect myself from taking on other people's emotions and other people's burdens, because I am an empath and I do tend to feel people's pain. That's one of my gifts. So it's an actual sensation. I will legit feel someone else's pain and I can help them through that, but I shouldn't take it on. And so basically what I'm trying to sum up here with this is that every relationship that we have, there's a lesson to be learned from that. Whether it be your bestie from grade school, someone new that you meet, coworkers, and coworkers is a big one. We're often triggered by coworkers when we're not in a peaceful place. Been there, done that, learned my lesson, made my mistakes on that one. For any coworkers that I've worked with previously and annoyed the hell out of, I apologize because I know my energy is strong. And sometimes I can come off a little too much. So I do apologize about coming from a place of imbalance and not coming from a place of healing for any of those previous instances that have happened. And these relationships can teach you a lot if you choose to learn from it. So I want you to think about some of the interpersonal relationships that you have. I want you to think about the relationship you have with your close friends, with your siblings. I want you to think about the lessons that you can actually learn from how you are in that relationship. Are you a mother to everybody? Guilty, done that before too. There's a reason why my nickname was Mama Jen all through college. I did a lot to try to mother other people, and there's a lot of reasons why I did that. And I want to give love, but they didn't need me to be their mother. They wanted me to be their friend. And while I would like to think I was a good friend, and I am a good friend, and I believe most people would agree with that, there have been times that, we can overgive. We can choose to be something for somebody that they didn't have, or that they're not being for themselves. So to sum all of that up, self-love also is about self-worth. Look closely at your relationships. Most relationships are going to teach you a lesson if you allow it, if you look at it. And some of the biggest lessons that we can learn are actually typically from the people that are closest to us. And you can choose to feel bad about the situation that you're in your life, or you can choose to learn from it. This is not easy to do, especially when tragic, horrible things happen. But you are strong and you are capable. And if you learn how to reframe that as a lesson, you can carry on much stronger. So, for example, when really bad things happen, let's say you were screwed over by a friend of yours. This is someone you knew for years. You thought you could trust them. Next thing you know, you're wondering, how could they do that to me? How could they do that to me? Well, it happened. So you have to now know your worth. Know your worth enough to know what you're willing to accept and what you're not. And people come into our lives, but they're not always meant to stay there forever. Some people only come into our lives for a short period of time, and we're meant to learn something from them. They're meant to learn something from us, right? And then we part our ways again. Every once in a while, you'll have that soul friend that's like, this person's been my friend for many lifetimes. I know it. And that's wonderful if you guys are both healed and you're both helping each other. But sometimes we have people that we try to hold on to in our lives for way longer than they're supposed to be there. Let's say you have a really toxic relationship with someone in your family. and you keep trying, or you go the opposite side and you talk shit constantly about them. Both of those are not places that are healthy. Because if you were healed from within and learned your lessons, you'd have no need to talk shit because you understand how they are, you accept them for who they are, you wish the best for them, but you're going to do what's best for you. And it's not selfish to do that. If we are giving so much to other people, great, but are you giving back to yourself? So if we're allowing ourselves to be torn down by relationships that we have in our lives, and let's say we feel like we expect something from them, or we feel incredibly shocked when someone does something wrong, or, you know, what's really crazy about that is that by the time they screw you over, that's because the universe already tried to remove them from your life several times and you refuse to let go. And so they have to do something drastic for you to truly see this person's not meant to be in my life anymore. You can't take everyone with you. If you're doing your healing, if you're moving up, if you're raising your vibration, and let's say you have a friend from childhood that never raised their vibration, but you're up here and you did the healing, you did the work. That person was supposed to actually exit your life. And allowing someone to enter and exit your life in divine timing is one of those lessons. So a lot of times people will be like, I can't believe that person did that to me. Well, maybe that's what it took for you to finally let go of that person because they were not serving you. They were not, that relationship wasn't serving you, not in the aspect of someone serving you. I didn't mean that. That relationship wasn't serving your highest good. That's a better way of saying it. So if you find a lot of these damaging relationships and you take the time to do the inner work to understand why you have that type of relationship with that person, to understand not only who they are, and we all have free will, and then accept what you know you deserve. So if someone is handing you a bag of shit, are you going to accept it? Oh, here, go throw this away for me. That's basically what a lot of those relationships are. You will give. Someone else hands you a bag of shit. Sometimes they even set it on fire on your porch. Someone else hands you nothing and you keep trying. So you're not allowing yourself to let go of that relationship. Maybe that's the lesson. So it's really about taking a closer look at everything, right? Take a closer look at your relationships, not just your parents, all family members, anyone, all friends, anyone that's close to you. And if it is a really toxic relationship, learning how to let go of that and still respect yourself while still having respect for the other person and appreciating the lessons that they helped you to learn. And sometimes it's tragic because it is going to take a major thing of them hurting you for you to finally let go of that. I hope it doesn't come to that for you, but I think most of us have been there at least once or twice in our lives where we're like, man, that person screwed me over. I'm done with them. Oh, so that's what it took. That's what it took for you to finally say goodbye to that person the universe has been trying to get out of your life for years. And that's one thing I always like to say is not only allowing people to exit your life, but know that the universe is working for you. It's all about this journey. And nothing's being done to you. It's for you. It's to help you learn, to help you grow, to help us be our best. And we're presented with challenges as an opportunity. So start taking a closer look at some of the relationships that you've developed over the years, some of the relationships you have with people, and understand that this is an opportunity to heal. If it is a great relationship, wonderful. We all need that good soul family. We all need a good soul family. And who we choose to be our family members is different than the family we're born into. If the family you're born into has done nothing but teach you lessons about what not to do, what you don't want to be, that's fine. Learning your self-worth and your boundaries of knowing you're not going to accept that type of behavior from them may be the lesson that you actually need to learn. But I want you to take a look at that. It's not about, burning every bridge and just being like, screw that person, this person screwed me over. Have you done anything to heal yourself from those instances? If you take the time to heal, to actually process what really happened, then you can appreciate the lesson in that relationship. And you can forgive people. Forgiveness is for you. It's not for that person. What are they going to do with your forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is for you. When you're all in a tizzy and you're angry about something, what happens? Your nervous system is imbalanced. You get hot, you get sweaty, your blood pressure goes up, your vessels literally constrict. Okay, you're constricting blood flow to your body when you do that. Getting angry, getting upset about the things that are done to us is not serving you at all. So that goes back to that aspect of responding with kindness and compassion to everyone, including yourself, instead of reacting emotionally. So thank you so much for tuning in. There'll be much more to come. This was just a short add-on to looking at the relationships that we have. So take a look for yourself and remember that every relationship is an opportunity to heal.